This makeup look on Emily is so pretty, and I've seen a lot of people recreate it, but I wanted to kind of really walk you through it. I'm going to use pot concealer. It has a lot of staying powder. As you can see, it's a lot thicker than a liquid. So I'm going to place that here on this outer part. I am going to use eye primer. I like to use eye primer anywhere that we have friction on the eye, and that's where we blink here in the socket. But I do kind of want to clean up my brow area, cover up these little freckles here. And I'm just going to use my pot concealer that's very close. It's almost identical to my skin tone. But we will grab an eyeshadow base in just a second. I like to use eyeshadow base instead of concealer. As you can see, this one's going to be more tacky, but also it's just designed for the eye area and the way that the texture goes onto the eye, and of course the way that it reacts with the friction of your eye blinking, like I mentioned earlier, really does make a difference. I think I have enough on here for both eyes. All right, we're almost to the eyeshadow. So the shadow looks pretty defined through here on the upper socket, and it looks very warm. Small brush and a very warm brown, lots of red in there, and I'm just going to kind of start to stamp that in that shape. Stamping is going to give you a lot of control, and you're even going to be able to build up that color. Now I'm going to start to push it into my socket a little bit more on the outer part. There we go. We got our shape. Now we're going to grab this shade back on the fluffy brush, but notice it's just on the side. I'm going to first set. I know it looks a little messy, but just wait a second. Go ahead and set, and you're giving it kind of a pre-transition. Then we're going to grab our small E27, and I'm just going to tap, and I want to keep the definition. The definition makes it, but we do want to soften the line a little bit more and kind of fill in these gaps. See how that makes it look a little bit uneven? We're changing the shape of the eye when we relax. And what we're doing is we're adding that depth through there, but we still need to just ever so lightly soften. If we soften too much, then it's too blown out, then we lose the shape. Now remember that pot concealer? This is a really fun pro tip. We're gonna take that and we're gonna do a final blend on this top part. And this just really melts everything together, and it kind of melts it into your undertone as well. It's so cool. I'm gonna grab this shade, and this is gonna go on our lid. Just really pack that on. Don't worry about it being a cut crease. We're gonna kind of melt it into the socket in just a second. But one thing we do need to notice, that lighter shadow just kind of goes here, and it doesn't go all the way up here. So if I was doing a cut crease, I would bring this up and kind of carve that out. But that lighter lid color stays pretty much on the natural lid. Give that a nice tap over. This is the brush that has that little bit of that pot concealer on there still. Now, if you want the smudgiest liner, take a little bit of a clear base. This one is my favorite. I'm gonna take this very close to my lash line. I'm gonna try to go underneath here. I know some of us have sensitive eyes. I actually have a video before this about tight lining. There's some tips there, but let's get this nice and smudgy. So what the clear base under here does is it helps to slow dry time. So if you've ever tried to do any kind of smoky liner and you're not enjoying it, you're not having a good time, it's probably the dry time affecting it, because what happens, that liner can start to become patchy as it's drying and you're trying to blend it. But the clear base under it, that's the key. We're gonna take that same brush and we're gonna start to smudge this out. And it's not really a wing, which is kind of what I really like about the look, but it is kind of a little extension here like that. We can round it out more, but it really kind of connects under here. So let's just go ahead and connect so we can get our shape going. Now we're gonna stamp some black eyeshadow on top of that. Now, waterline top and bottom. And one thing about this look, it is going to be an absolute nightmare. It's going to look frightening until we finish. Mascara, she doesn't appear to have falsies on, and I love this mascara from Kiko Milano. It's their Maxi Mod. Look at the wand, it's so small, tiny but mighty. I'm gonna powder my lash curler. All right, I've been curling it about 15 seconds, and now it's gonna hold like that. Looks like falsies. I'm just gonna use a skin tint because it doesn't look like she has a whole lot of coverage in that picture, and I really like that, and I'm excited. We'll do some little faux freckles too. This will just even out my skin a little bit, take down some of the redness, but you're still gonna be able to see my freckles like that peek through. I'm gonna grab a little bit of the tint from other parts of my face, and I'm gonna put this underneath my eye, but I'm using that kind of as a buffer because I wanna use this underneath my eye, but I wanna just use the smallest amount, and this isn't going to be as dry since it has that dewy tint underneath it. Just trying to not get too carried away and too full coverage with the concealer, and this is a really good way to do that. Now before we get any powder, I'm gonna take some of this clear base, right? I'm gonna grab a little bit of a brown eyeshadow from this palette. I'm actually gonna scrape just a little bit of that color right there. I'm talking just a whisper, just a wispy wisp. If I can get it out of here. There we go. Look how pigmented that is with the base. Okay, let me run to the kitchen and grab my broccoli. Just kidding. I'm gonna grab my little freckle mixture here. And what I'm gonna do, you'll notice I've done this before I did any powder. I'm just gonna start by mimicking what I have already. Okay, I'm gonna go very light-handed, and I'm just gonna put a few. I mean, that looks pretty natural, right? No need to disturb the fruit and vegetable drawers. And then at this stage, if you don't like it, it's so easy to just do away with it. Now, don't worry about getting a little too wild with them because I do this before powder. You're gonna see why. Now I have a little bit of powder foundation here on my puff, and I'm talking the smallest amount. Too much and we're gonna be way too full coverage, but this is just going to really blur. Look at the difference in the freckles now. Now I'm gonna take my freckle mixture here on the back of my hand. That's gonna go underneath here on our lash line. Now if I take the stick directly on my face, I might get out of control, but if I just grab a little bit on a brush, it's gonna keep me from over bronzing. But I am gonna take the bronzer stick and I'm gonna take it above, and we're gonna do a pre-lip contour with this shade. Her Cupid's bow looks pretty rounded out. I'm gonna do it that way, and then I'm also gonna take it around here and around this way. This Kiko Milano blush is gonna be perfect. This is shade 7, just double checking that, yep. And then, oh, yep, perfect. I feel like her cheeks have a really pretty pink glow about them. Perfect. Her lip line looks pretty blurred and soft. So as I create definition, I'm softening it with my finger as I go. Then I'm going to do this Patrick Ta gloss. The shade is Need Her. Let's give our eyeliner one more little smudge over with our E27. She's so pretty. Let's just focus on looking at the makeup and comparing the makeup. Don't look at me. I love this look so much. Save this for later in case you want to recreate it.